Hi everyone, my name's Rebecca and I am just going to share today a very quick exercise movement sort of workout that I enjoy doing after I come back from a run or even a bike, something where you've used the quadricep muscles of your legs, your hamstrings a lot, but where you're looking to find a little bit of balance in working the side body and the glutes and some control of the abdominals, especially the deeper core, and then also enjoying a bit of lengthening of the quadriceps and the hamstrings that you just worked. So a run, a soccer game, bike, rollerblade, lots of things fit that category. It is also just a nice class to do on its own if you're short on time. So let's start down on our backs on the mat. Just because no matter what position I've been in while I'm exercising, I really always enjoy that imprint and release for my low spine and just to find the foundation in the rest of my body. So your feet are sit bone width apart, and just take a moment, lift the feet, keep the heels on the mat, but just lift the feet. And then when you return the feet to the mat, just have an awareness of the connection of the feet, the balls of the feet especially. Is everything even there? The toes, are they nice and relaxed? And the knees are no wider than you've set the feet, and the pelvis is in nice neutral. From the low back or low rib cage up, just sort of melt the spine, melt the rib cage into the mat. Get a sense of width here. See if the shoulder blades can be connected to the mat, and then the upper arms, the forearms, and the palm of the hand with the fingers nice and spread. And the weight of the head really heavy and relaxed into the mat, so that throat is soft and the chest is relaxed. And then a nice breath in. Hopefully your breath is warmed up from your previous activity. And on your out breath, drawing in with the belly, a little lift of the pelvic floor here too, as you settle the low back into an imprint position or gently flat position. Breath in to roll back to neutral. And exhale, gently flat. Good. Nice breath in and out. Good. And then really keeping an idea of how wide the knees are. And I didn't include the mini ball in this class, but if you do have yours or a soft ball to put between the knees, that'll certainly help you if you're tight in the quadriceps as we roll up. So through imprint, lifting the pelvis, lifting the low spine, lifting a little bit of the rib cage. And here, if you've just worked a lot in your quadriceps, if you think of really lifting the pelvis, of tipping the pubic bone towards your nose, and of keeping the knees narrow, you might actually get, or you should get, a little bit of length and opening in the front of the hips and in the quadriceps where you just worked. So lift that pelvis a little higher once you get up there, and then enjoy peeling it down, one bone of the back at a time, right back to neutral. And on your exhale, flow up again. Taking a moment at the top, to put the emphasis on lengthening in the front body, the front of the quadriceps, the hip flexors, the groin area. Lift the pelvis a little higher while you think of that tip of the pubic bone towards your nose, and then peel it down. And then coming back up. Length, 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 length. And peel it down. So you're getting some good glute work here too. The bum muscles are working nicely, which if you're a long distance runner, those tend to turn off and you get a little hamstring dominant. Nothing wrong with that for your sport, but you don't want that imbalance to become too pronounced if you also do other sports. Other activities of daily living. So hold this one up, take a nice breath and press into your right leg and just lift that left leg to tabletop. We're going to straighten the leg because you're going to get that hamstring length. And if you've just run, you feel that, or if you've just been on the bike, flex the foot, reach the heel a little higher towards the sky, right? And then lower the whole leg, but don't let that pelvis drop. And then raise the leg back up and try to get even more length in the hamstrings there. Flex it down. Point and raise. Flex it down. Point and raise. We're going to do one more. Perfect. And then leave the leg there. Peel it down. One bone of the back at a time. And leave the leg there. And just take the hands behind the leg and draw. Draw that straight leg in towards you. And you can grab onto the calf or maybe the ankle if you're that flexible. I'm not, especially after running. And you can just flex the foot and point. Or little circles with the ankle, whatever feels good. Or you can ease out of the stretch and back into it with the idea that you're getting length in the back of the leg. Perfect. One more nice breath. Release that leg. Take your breath in. On your out breath, peeling back up with the pelvis. Thinking about that tip of the pubic bone and that height of the pelvis and hopefully feeling less pull in the front. You're lengthening, right? Press into your left leg, right leg to tabletop. Pelvis stays level, straighten the leg. Lengthen, 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 lengthen in that hamstring area. And then flex, reach the heel towards the sky and press it down. Point and raise. Flex, press it down. Point and raise. Flex, press it down. Point and raise. Last time. Point and raise. Lengthen, lengthen those hamstrings, and then peel it down. One bone of the back at a time. See if both sides of the back, both sides of the pelvis can connect at the same time. Then take the hands behind the thigh, or behind the calf, or behind the ankle, and just gently draw that whole leg nice and straight in towards your chest. Using your breath and not fighting with it. I think a stretch should always just be a conversation with your tissues where you're asking, what feels good today? Yesterday might have been better, or tomorrow might be better, or maybe today's great, right? But you're listening so that you're not overstretching and getting a tense response. Hopefully you're truly getting some welcomed length in the tissues. Good. Make this one your last one in this position anyway. And release it down. Good. Perfect. And then straighten out both legs. And this is just a little bit of abdominal work, but if you worked hard in your hip flexors, like in a bent position on the bike, we're going to straighten out the legs and bring the hands behind the head with the elbows nice and wide. Neutral pelvis. On your exhale, feel that deep core. Feel the activation before you lift the chest. So think of the pelvic floor lift, the belly drawing in a little bit, and then peel up to look at the toes and peel it down. Exhale to come up. And inhale to peel it down. And if you were just, statically on a bike for the last little bit with the upper body or running, there's not a lot of movement in the upper body for these. So this is a nice opportunity to move that upper spine. So exhaling to come up on this one. Add a rotation to the right where you think of lifting the shoulder more or the breastbone. And then float the right leg, lower it down, release. Exhale to come up, rotate to the left, straight raise. And for this actually, I'd like you to turn the toes out in a little bit of a V. So the heels are together, toes are turned out. So that if you do use your hip flexors a lot, you're going to try to use them a little less here. Try to feel that the abdominals help you. Raise that long lever of a leg while you keep the pelvis nice and still. And left. And we're going to do 2 more to each side. And I'd really like you to just feel like the head is well supported in the hands. You're getting some good mobility in the upper back. You're coming up a little higher each time if you can. Not losing your height as you lift the leg. Last one to the right. Right? You didn't work the abs in this way when you were running or on your bike. It's a nice balance. Last one. Lift the left leg, lower it, peel it down, and then bring both knees in towards the chest. Pull the knees in, draw the heels towards the bum, keep the elbows wide, lift the head to look at the knees, and then get a little rock. Move in your spine to give a little roll here. Coming to balance when you're ready. If you don't like rolling like a ball, we're just coming onto the belly after this. Perfect. Last one. And then coming onto your front to lengthen in those quadriceps a little bit more. And to get some extension in your upper back. So feet are very close together for this one. Draw the inner thighs in together. Be broad in your shoulders. Draw in with the low belly as you lift away with the face and the throat. A little bit of the breastbone. And I want you to adjust the elbows so you can press through the hands a little bit or press through the forearms a little bit and the elbows. Feel like you drag the breastbone forward a little bit. You get some extension here, but you really keep the abdominals strong so that low back is nice and comfortable. And our movement is going to be to bend the knee, keeping it really close to the midline. Release it slightly, flex the foot, pull it in. Release it again with the pointed toe, and then straighten everything out. If it's too much to think about the ankle, just give 3 little pulses to the knee bend. But you want that idea that the feet are very close together, the thighs stay close together, the knees are close together, because you're lengthening in the front of the body a lot here. And so bend the knee, release a tiny bit, bend again, straighten. Bend, 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 straighten. Bend, 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 straighten. The upper body stays nice and still. If you're doing the foot, it's point, flex, point. It's always nice to do a little footwork after running, biking, rollerblading, whatever you were doing. Point, flex, point, straighten, point, flex, point, straighten, point, flex, point, straighten. Lift a little higher in the breastbone if you can. And then melt it down, one bone to the back at a time. Beautiful. Press back to be on hands and knees in that shell stretch. Just very brief, just getting that roundness in the spine. And coming forward to be on your side. Good. And this gets length in both the hamstrings and the front, the quadriceps. So it's a little bit of a bicycle, a weird bicycle. You're going to have the bottom knee bent a little bit. And you can always lay down if you don't like being up on the elbow, but it's nice, I think, to work a little bit of upper body after not, usually, if you're running. Float the leg, right? Pelvis stays nice and still. You'll feel it if the pelvis is still. If you allow the low back and the rib cage to move, you probably won't feel the same length that you're looking for in the leg. And you get to strengthen the side body. So here we are. We're back, and we're going to bend the knee, right? And as you bend the knee, you don't let anything move. You're trying to feel almost like a stretch. Like if you were to grab your leg and do a stretch, right? Only you're not grabbing your leg. You're bringing the heel towards the bum. And then you're going to bring the whole leg forward, keeping that knee bent. Straighten the leg out to the front and press it back. When you press it back, you keep the tailbone tucked forward so you get that length in the hip flexor. Then you bend the knee, you get the length in the quadricep. You reach it forward, you get the length in the hamstring. So here we are. And it is bend the knee, Bring the bent knee forward, straighten the leg, sweep it back. Bend the knee, bent knee comes forward, straighten it up, sweep it back. Doesn't that feel good? And the upper body is doing some good isometric work, keeping the rib cage pressed away from the mat, keeping the head in line with the rest of the spine. Good. Let's make this one your last one. You're going to hold the leg back behind you. I want you to feel like you stretch it back a little more. You can point the toe, keep that pubic bone tucked forward, and then reach back with the leg, reach back with the leg, reach back with the leg. And here you're going to do a little lift of the leg for 8, for 7, for 6. As you lift the leg, feel like you press the rib cage away from the mat a little more so that you don't end up dropping the upper body as the leg lifts. That made me lose count. Sorry, but that feels good. Maybe one more. Perfect. And bring that leg forward to get that length in the hamstring. Reach that heel out. Hope the bottom of my foot is clean. And we'll lift here for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Sweep it back, bend the knees, and we have the other side to do. Same thing, same arrangement. Bottom knee is just a little bit bent. Upper body, if you want that work, is up on the elbow with that forearm nice and grounded to the mat. Top leg comes to be nice and straight, horizontal to the mat. Bring the leg behind you a little bit. Draw in with the abdominals at that point, and then bend the knee. Nothing moves through the pelvis or the waist. Bring that bent knee forward, right? Straighten it out and sweep it back. Bend the knee, bring it forward, straighten it out, sweep it back. Okay? Bend the knee. That's hard for me on this side. Bring it forward, straighten it out, sweep it back. As I bend the knee, I really have to think about keeping the tailbone tucked forward in order to feel that stretch. Otherwise, I lose it. I cheat. So find where you're cheating so that you can feel it in the front of the hip when the leg's straight. Bend the knee, feel the stretch in the quadricep. Bring the bent knee forward, and as you straighten it here, you want to feel the length in the hamstring. Sweep it back. Bent knee comes forward, straighten it out, sweep it back. Bend the knee, bent knee comes forward, straighten it out, sweep it back. Oh, I'm not adding the ankle. You can. Bend knee forward, straighten it out, sweep it back. We'll do one more. Bend knee, bring it forward, straighten it out, sweep it back, and keep it back here. So you're back, you're going to bring that leg behind you a little bit more. You're really trying to feel some length in the hip flexor area. Pubic bone, tailbone's tucked forward. Lift the leg for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it forward. Flex the foot. Press that rib cage away from the mat and lift here for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Beautiful. Bring that leg back, bend the knees. Come to hands and knees, because the last thing that I really love to do after either of those activities, bike, run, lots of other things, is curl the toes and press the sit bones towards the sky for a lovely pyramid stretch. So broad shoulders, sink the heels, lift the sit bones towards the sky. Feel the pelvis pull away from the hands. Put more weight into the heels and the legs if you can. Actively press the chest away from the hands. Be strong in the upper body, and the head and neck are pretty relaxed. You hope. Take a nice breath in. Lift the heels. Come back to hands and knees. Uncurl the toes. Rock back once again into that lovely shell stretch. Roll it up to nice kneeling. And then you can add any other stretches that you want that feel good in your body, but hopefully that's a nice way to do some active stretching and get some balance in the side body and even a little bit of upper body work. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.